Welcome back, or welcome in to this never-ending shit show that is the Chatting with Josh Life Chronicles. Either way, this video is going to be slightly different compared to some of the other, videos and topic videos and discussion commentary videos that I make. This is just going to kind of be me ranting about my thoughts and opinions and feelings and things that are just kind of stirring in my head this morning. Being mostly that I'm just bitter, due to the cost of living, the never-ending struggle, nightmare of being an adult in America. The fact that if I knew how, bitter growing up was going to be, I would have never, decided to make it past 18. And, maybe that sounds super negative. Maybe some of you guys are thinking like, Josh, why do you feel this way? Why is your mindset so negative? Well, partially, my mother raised me to think negatively firsthand before I think positively. I always think of the worst possible situation so you can prevent it, which then ends up leading me just nonstop obsessing over the negative of everything, which I think can be kind of, a benefit in terms of, maybe it could help me stay away from certain sticky situations or other certain things like, let's say just, things that could get me in a mess. But either way, it just kind of seems like the majority of my life is just ruled around the negativity. But in reality, one of the biggest reasons why I feel the way I do about so many things I talk about is because of my life experiences. How putting myself in the field, whether that's, corporate jobs, just bare minimum wage, bitch work, 9-to-5 jobs, being a dishwasher or bottom bitch of the, kitchen, I realized that there really isn't many ways to really get ahead in America if you're not kind of already at somewhat of a, solid standpoint. Now, that's not fully true. There's always those, special cases, and America thrives off the survivor bias. We only pay attention to the few people that make it. We completely ignore the majority of people who never even got the first leg up in the first place to begin with. And also, it's like, now that I'm 25, it really is the year where, I'm supposed to have my life together. Every day I go on Facebook, which honestly, I debate so many times, just delete that platform, because it's honestly all just toxic and just people just trying to make a show for themselves, put on masks and present themselves as how great their lives are, when really you never really see behind the scenes. You really only see the little bit of clip highlights that are edited and portrayed to show the not so raw reality of things. But anyway, every single day, I'm, especially now that I'm turning 25 to 30, I'm in this age range. There are many people throughout my class I graduated with, or people that I knew growing up, or anybody. They're having, marriages, they're buying new houses, they're, building properties, or they're doing all these things that I'm so far away from. And some of these things almost seem like I'll never get there. Like, I've completely given up on marriage. I honestly, the last girlfriend I had a few years ago, I've tried dating a few times since, honestly. I have so many other focuses, it feels like dating is just a distraction, honestly. And even the cost of dating, it's like, I don't have a vehicle. That's such a, red flag for many women, being my age of 25, where it's like, if you don't got your shit together, why should I even give you a chance? Now, obviously, I know there are many girls out there where it's like, oh, if you're going to find the one, they're going to rock with you when you're on your down, whatever, you know what I mean? But I don't have time to focus on all that stuff. My mind's already filled with all the other distractions, whether that's bills, upcoming payments, or, trying to find a place to live, how to put food in my tummy, all that shit. And so, honestly, as much as I want to be happy for some of these people when I see their successes, their accomplishments, and I want to comment, give a little heart reaction and comment, oh, congrats, I don't feel that way. I'm not even jealous. I just get pissed. I'm like, wow, another person so much farther ahead of me that I know. And they were put in such a better position than I was initially put in, because my dad passed away when I was young, and my mom damn near gave up throughout my, high school life. Now, she did raise me the best she could, and I am more than appreciative of everything that she was able to do, but at the same time, she pretty much gave up on her life when my dad passed away. And I can make all these different videos discussing all these different things. I probably will in the future, because, the more the channel grows, the more people will probably be interested in these types of things. But in the raw reality of things, it's like, I think this way because this is how life is. Some people might think, oh, Josh, you're just a young adult. You just have the same mindset as everybody else, and you just think everything is just supposed to get handed to you. And that's the exact opposite of how I feel. I feel like everybody should have some sort of obligation to provide to the community, or provide to the society, or give something if you get something back in return. But in the raw reality of things, that's just not really the case. It's like, you graduate high school, they throw you right into the job market, or they throw you right into college and rack you up so much debt that you can't even really even see past it. And then once you do get those, decent checks, they're just getting eat up by all these other, minimal payments. And then they throw credit cards, they throw all these different things where it's like, they almost want you to get into debt to keep yourself behind. But at the same time, they make the system so troubling where you kind of have to get into debt to even stay afloat. which is just kind of such a contradiction, if you really ask me. I do apologize if there's any background noise. Can't really help that, but I didn't want to do a video outside today. I definitely had to share my thoughts from my mind because they've been eating me up inside, to be honest. And another thing that I keep consistently getting asked about is, Josh, why don't you just join a military service? Why don't you just join the services? So I have to completely give my entire life away? Do you know when you sign those contracts, you can't actually get out of them? I refuse to sign a contract I have absolutely no negotiation with. I don't think that's really, and as much as I respect the people that do their time in that, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily for me. What bothers me most is that many people just feel like that's the only way to get ahead, is just completely sacrifice your life to the greater good, when really, I'll probably end up fighting a war I don't even agree with. I'll probably die over things I can't control. And if you sign those contracts and they tell you to, run into a building and that's gonna blow up, you kind of got to do it. You can't really turn down those orders. You kind of have to take the tasks at hand and do whatever your sergeant or your person above you tells you to do. So, do you know how much of a problem I have with management? Do you think I could really get through boot camp? Just through the straight determination of it, maybe I could, but I could never have, I don't know. It's like either you have to decide between survival or the right way. And if you're going to do the right path, you're barely going to survive. And also, almost everybody in my life is in the exact same position as me, where there's no funds to go around, paycheck to paycheck, probably even more struggling than that. The paycheck's not even really making it. And so you can't really ask anybody for help. So who do you turn to? You turn to the banks. You turn to credit cards. You turn to payday loans. And then they rake up these insanely high interests where it's like you really have no other choice but to turn towards them for help. And then they wreck you in the ass every single time you need their help. And anyway, so it's like in America, it really seems like I genuinely believe that the system that we have at play, that we have at hand, is made to keep you in the position that you're in. And they will put so many hurdles in your way for you to try to jump those before you can get to that next launch standing. But either way, kind of a crazy thing to think about. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Personally, I've kind of been in my head a lot lately. I've kind of been trying to do the best I can and get by the best I can. It really sucks when you're spending every single week living paycheck to you're spending every single month living paycheck to paycheck, just for you to know, like, what am I even looking forward to when I get this next paycheck? It's already spent. How about the paycheck after that? Oh, so pretty much I'm working for free. I mean, if you work and work and work and you can barely afford to pay your bills and you have no time for yourself, first of all, what are you even working for to begin with? You're just working to get someone else paid. I'm just working for someone else to get this money, and then they just give it to somebody else. And then not only that, the taxes on top of everything is absolutely insane. Like, if you have $50 and you exchange it here to here to here to here, it gets taxed a couple percent every single exchange. Your $50 damn near disappeared. Now the bank owns it all. So, money's not meant to be kept. Money's meant to be spent, and they will do everything in their power to get you to spend it, even if you don't have any choice. For example, like I was telling you guys, I've been living paycheck to paycheck. So my Wells Fargo account, which honestly the worst bank I could probably ever have started getting into, I only ever started with that bank because that was what my ex-girlfriend that I had at the time had, and I had to create a bank account for my regular 9-to-5 job after I turned 18 and graduated high school and I moved out on my own. And so that was the closest bank, so I got that. The fees they have are absolutely ridiculous. Like I was saying, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, so my account was sitting at $0. Not negative, it was just at $0. Well, because I didn't use the account for a couple weeks, they hit me with a $15 charge. Now my account is -10 and my savings account is -$5. So I'm -$15. Makes absolutely no sense. I don't really understand how they come up with these terms. In America, being broke costs you more. It's actually more expensive to be broke than it is to have money. Even back when I was renting my apartments, if you pay late, there's a $50 to $75, sometimes over $100 charge, depending on what your apartment, what their rules are. It's like, if I can't pay my rent on time, do you really think I can pay an extra? Where am I supposed to get an extra $50 from? If I had the money, you would already get it. Do you think I'm just choosing not to give it to you? It's almost like they try to give you like a penalty, like you're choosing to hold your money back. Like, it's not going to just end up being in their hands eventually anyway. Like, that's not what it is, guys. That's not what it is. I remember back when I used to work at Target, and pretty much the entirety of my paycheck was going straight to my rent. And I would just get the money order. I would go and turn the check into the rental office. And I would think to myself, like, here goes every bit of my last week's of work. Here we go. Now I go back to my place, and now I have a place to starve and be bored. How great, that's kind of the thing about America. It's like, and then they'll, oh, well, you're so lucky, you should be blessed. Why don't you, we have all this free entertainment, YouTube, Netflix. Well, okay, Netflix isn't free, and now YouTube's not even free. They're even putting ads on the premium subscriptions. Guys, capitalism is at its finest. It really is going over the haywire, and people are getting screwed and bent over backwards in every single which way. And honestly, I don't know how many more times I can get bent over backwards before I I feel like revolting, which honestly, revolting in this country, this leads to you being on the street and then you being labeled a crazy degenerate who doesn't want to work. And that's also another thing, is doing these online ventures because I want to have some sort of freedom or somewhat control of my schedule. These all get shunned. The majority of people in my life, they hate on what I try to do with these online ventures because they think I'm not trying to take my life as serious. Maybe I don't really want to actually get ahead. Maybe I don't understand the reality of things. I haven't woken up from my high school delusion of dreams. Whatever, guys. I don't want to be a bazillionaire. I don't want to have millions of followers. Honestly, I do not want all that, pressure and stuff that comes with all that. I just want to be able to stay afloat and be able to have a modern wage that can actually be consistent and keep me above water. Not just above water, maybe actually coasting a bit so I can live a little bit. That's the thing. It's I'm so sick of not being able to live. I'm so sick of literally just surviving solely due to the cost of living. And maybe, Josh, work harder. Why don't you get 3 more jobs? What, so I have no time at all and then taxes can just take it all anyway? Makes no sense to me. But either way, I would love to hear all your guys' thoughts and opinions regarding any of this stuff. And if, unfortunately, if you guys can relate to anything discovered in today's shit show, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. I always love to read those, and I always try to respond to the ones I see fit. And I always give a huge shout out to all my channel supporters, my Patreon supporters, everybody who checks those donation links down below in the description. If anybody wants to throw a couple dollars towards the Top Ramen Noodle Fund, it definitely will help me out and will definitely keep me going. Because, like I'm saying, man, skipping meals in America, seeing the overwhelming abundance of food waste is incredibly disgusting, as well as the way, they just dangle the carrot over your head, and then you get to the carrot, and it's hollow. It's not even, it's like those Easter bunnies that's not even full of chocolate, it's just hollow on the inside. That's our carrot these days. Anyway, it's just some bullshit. Anyway, I think that's going to be wrapping up today's video. I do appreciate you guys for watching, and I hope you guys were entertained, or maybe you can relate anyway. Unfortunately, either way, thank you so much for watching. I definitely appreciate you guys. You guys are the best, and I plan to be as consistent as I can with this channel. It can definitely be hard getting in my head, especially struggling with everything else I talk about, but at the same time, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'll be here, and I hope to catch you later. So see ya.